So I grew up in a city called Rancho Cucamonga. It's in Southern California. And at the beginning, my life was great. My family took me to church every Sunday. I grew up in the church. And every summer they sent me to VBS, which I really enjoyed. Because they always had these Bible drills. And I studied as much as I could so that I could win these competitions. Competitive was just in my genes. And then my family got divorced and my dad moved away. And so I really saw my dad. And my mom had to work extra jobs just so she can support us and we can live. And it was just me and my sister. And life just seemed to just keep getting bleaker and bleaker and sadder and sadder. And then at the end of high school, my life just faded and the darkness just set in. That's what I call the madness period of my life. I started running and doing things that I shouldn't have done. Things that growing up and learning about the Bible, I knew I shouldn't have had no part in. And during this period of time, the darkness was just so bad that I didn't want to live anymore. I kept trying to find somebody that would just put me out of my misery, put an end to everything. And nobody would. And it just made me even more angry. And the more angrier I got, the more the darkness set in. The more I just wanted to just escape from this world. So then in 2002, I paroled from Sentinel State Prison. And I had nowhere to go. I would try calling my mom, I'd try calling my sister, and as soon as they would hear my voice, they would hang up. So the only place I could go to was my old friends. The ones I was running around selling drugs with. And I got right back to the same things, living the same way. And it didn't take long. Within a week, I noticed it was just a downward spiral. And one night we were sitting in the garage, and God gave me clarity just for a moment. He pulled away the darkness, and He made me realize that this isn't me. This is not the way I was raised. I'm not even enjoying this. What am I doing? So at that moment, I got rid of everybody that was around me. I told them all to leave. And I destroyed all the drugs that I had and got rid of everything. And I forced myself to go to sleep. And the next morning, when I got up, I went straight to the parole office and I sat there at the front door until they opened. And when my parole officer showed up, I sat there in his office and I told him everything. I told him I was using again and I wanted help. I begged him to give me help. And at that moment, he started calling around, trying to find a rehab center that would accept me. And he had me sit in the lobby as he was doing this. And the hours just kept ticking away. The whole day was almost done. And I was still sitting there. And nobody would accept me. Nobody would take me into their rehab. And I remember sitting there thinking, this is where I've taken my life. That nobody would help me. And the tears just started coming. I just could not believe that I had destroyed my life that bad. For the first time in my adult life, I broke down and cried. And I dropped to my knees right there in the parole office, right in the middle of the lobby in front of all these other inmates. And I begged God to take control. I told him, I can't do this no more. I realize my way is the wrong way. Take control. I give you my life. I give you everything. I will do whatever you want me to do. And as soon as I got done praying and I sat back in my chair, a guy walked through the door. And this guy happened to work at a rehab center. And who just happened to have one of his detox beds open up. And he asked me what's wrong. And so I told him everything. He told me about the open bed that just happened to open up. And he told me he would get me into that bed. So we got my parole officer. He called over and confirmed it. And he dropped me off there. I spent a week there. And during that week, we were still trying to find a rehab for me. A long-term rehab. And no one would still take me. And then finally, the Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center in Paris opened their doors and let me in. So I got into the program and I put everything I had into my program. I didn't hold nothing back. I said, like I told God, I'm giving you everything. But this story isn't about me. This story is about God. This is a story about a God that can take someone like me, an inmate in the depths of maximum security prison, and transform me into a productive member of society. He took me from being a prisoner to a preacher of His word. If He can do that to me, imagine the things that He can do for you.